A on the bottom. Mishnah. Umaisa. Interesting. The Mishnah starts off, and there was a story. It was a story that the lower jaw was larger than the upper jaw. The shal, you have to add in the words. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel l'chachamim. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel asked the sages. It says Reb Gamliel, but we add in Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. V'amra harei mum. They said it is a mum. The Gemara immediately challenges just the wording of this. It says, "My Tana Diktani Maisa." What did we teach that you're starting off with the story?
That's funny.
And there was a story.
That's not the custom of the Mishnah, is it?
Right. I was at a speech and the person said, "There's a famous saying. It's so famous, I'm not even going to say it." And then it goes on to, but you have to say what you're talking about. What do you mean? And there was a story. So the Gemara explains like this: Mishum D'Tanan was taught before. The Mishnah, there's several Mishnayos on this page. The Mishnah directly preceding this one, it said that if the mouth is similar to a chazir, this was the cow's mouth is similar to a pig. This is one of the three women that Rabbi Eily added, and the sages said we don't know about this. Mouth similar to the pig. That's a normal mouth. Okay.
Is that how things, the large, small?
It's not significant enough to make a.
Wait.
I don't know. It doesn't. Do you see it?
Let me enlarge it. I have an enlargement in here.
Here they're saying that the lower jaw.
No, that picture is of the pig's nose. That's not.
That we're looking
jaw.
at no. This is the mouth.
But that's the pig picture.
Right.
We're not looking at the jaw column in that picture. It's from before. That was
So
where.
let's go to this.
That's the pig to the.
Oh, then you don't have one over there. Okay. So, the rabbis argued about that. They said that that's not a mum. It's supposed to be the Rabbi Eily. It's supposed to say. The Kamrinan, now it says, Ki pligi Rabbanala, the Rabbi, you have to add in the word Eily. When did the rabbis argue on Rabbi Eily? That's when the upper jaw is larger than the lower jaw. But if the lower jaw is larger than the upper jaw, then harei mum. That would be a mum. Okay.
By the way, we call that overbite or an underbite. In certain dog species, it's a common move that certain dogs have an underbite. It looks like that. I mean, I think
We're talking about cows now, right?
This is cows, but I mean, think of I think an American bulldog for example.
Right.
That's the underbite, I think. But I'm just
But a chazer is always like that. A chazer, their lower jaw is bigger than their. That's how they are.
I don't know. No, I don't hang around them so much. I don't know. And then it says, "My tsunami," and that's how we come in. There's also a story, Shalechi Tachtanei Defala Elyon, and Shal Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Chachamim. The sages asked, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel asked the sages, V'amra harei mum, that it's a mum. The Gemara now says that, okay, so you got a mum out of this by saying that the lower jaw is larger, that's considered a mum. Lower jaw, you said, is called the underbite. The lower jaw is larger as the underbite. The bite means the top one. So, but this was really taught about a man. This is not about an animal. Why? Because it says, let's say the upper lip is larger than the lower lip. The lower lip is larger than the upper lip. This is considered a mum. And ish mizera Aaron, a man from the descendants of Aaron, ish shava bizar shel Aaron. It needs to be. This is only a mum by a man that needs to be similar to the descendants of Aaron. But we don't say this is a mum and an animal. This is only by a man. And here we're saying that this is a mum and an animal. And we learn from the pasuk that it's only by a man. Depends. If it's just the lip, then that's just by a man.
So underbite.
And that's considered a mum. That's considered a mum. Wow. Is
Oh,
that
wow.
from the art scroll? No.
No. Wikipedia.
Can you see it again? That's considered a mum. Wow.
Well, I'm just showing the example.
No.
So, and they're showing it to you as an underbite in a cow. You searched underbite in a cow? Or?
No, it was plastic surgery showing correction of underbites in humans.
Oh.
But I skipped all the people's pictures and showed you this one because this is hereditary in the animal.
Interesting. So if there's a bone there, then it's a mum by an animal as well. If there's no bone there, then it's only a visual appearance, and it's just a look, and it's just a mum by a human. Oizen, a mum by a kayan, that would be. Oizen agdi haisa kfula. Let's say the ear is doubled.
It's on the human.
He looks angry.
Yeah, it gives you an angry look.
Your neighbors.
So if he has a double ear, it's an agdi. The goat has a double ear. Amr chacham b'zman shu etzem echad, it's a mum. If there's one bone, then it's a mum. I don't know what a double ear is. I don't know if it means it's one on top. I don't know what this means.
I'm going to look.
I don't
keep on
know.
going.
And I don't know even know what it means, one bone. Does it mean that the one piece? That one piece? B'zman she'ein bayetzem echad. I'm sorry. B'zman she'ein bayetzem einay mum. But if it's einay yetzem, if it's not one piece, that means there's actually two separate ones. Two separate ears. I guess one on top of the other. That's not a mum. It's so interesting. But it's just so unclear what this is talking about.
It's almost like a hike. It's like there's no reason for it.
I think it would be it should be that one's more visible than the other. That's where the mum comes in. But I don't know. I don't understand. I'm not picturing it. Rabbi Chananya ben Gamliel Leimer. Did we have before Rabbi Chananya ben Antignis?
Yeah.
Okay, now we have Rabbi Chananya ben Gamliel. Chananya ben Gamliel says, Zanav Hagdi, the tail of a goat, Shudaim l'shel chazir, that is similar to a pig.
Double ear.
Double ear.
Let's see.
Double ear in a cat.
No way.
Wow.
Wow.
We have another
That's fine.
Gemara. There's one.
I'll get one of those down there. Use this one.
I'll
get it. I know where they hide it. Thanks.
There's one.
It's a double ear in a cat.
No. Keep going.
That's what surgery.
So v'she'im b'shalish cholyes haresim mum. We're talking about that. First, which mentioned that the tail of a goat is similar to a pig. I'm just going to explain exactly what's the similarity. And the next thing is that if it doesn't have three vertebrae in the tail, that's a mum. Now, the assumption here is that we're talking about a goat, because that's what we were talking about before, and we didn't change which animal we're referring to. Taner Rabbanan, piv balam. Piv balam. Balam means either swollen or closed off. The Gemara talks about someone that's balam piv, and someone insults him and he's balam piv, he doesn't say anything. So here, apparently either his mouth is shrunken, closed.
Nostril.
What's it called?
His nostril, let us see it.
Think
Here it
so?
says mouth is swollen.
Mouth is swollen.
When
Rashi
you wanna
says
say
katzer.
something-
I'm sorry?
When you want to say something and you don't say it, you don't.
Okay. Varaglev mivulamais. And the feet are mivulam. Also, it means, according to Rashi, it means shortened. That there's very short feet. Machmas is two readings here. Either harevach or haruach. So it's einamum. I have no clue what it means. Machmas haruach. The feet are. Does it mean swollen? If it means swollen, then fine. But if it means shortened, I don't know what it means.
It says you're swollen due to the wind.
Okay, that I
You
can
got
hear.
a little flu or something.
You mean in the feet?
Maybe he's short-winded because he has heart disease and he has edema in his feet, like a human being. I don't know. I'm just.
There is such a thing?
I mean, everyone who has heart failure that's not treated, all right, backs up fluid. So you look at them and they got swollen feet. Right? And then when you lie down at night, in the lowest part of the bodies, your lungs, all that fluid goes in their lungs, and they have to sleep on extra pillows or sitting up. And they come to the doctor and they say, I don't understand. During the day I have swollen feet. I wake up, it's gone. But I'm sleeping on 3 pillows and I'm waking up cough. Heart failure.
Machmas Etzem. Machmas Etzem also has 2 interpretations. Either it means because of the bone, or it means because of itself, not because of the wind, like Machmas Etzem. So Harei Mum, then that would be a mum. Oznei Kfulois, if the ear is double, Ubechas Chasais Achas, and it has one piece of the ear, one cartilage. So then Harei Mum, that's the problem. Is that what we said in the Mishnah?
No, we said that it's fine. It's just the opposite.
Yeah, just the opposite.
We said that if an ear...
Now it says, B'shtei Chaschasos Ein a mum. If that's 2, it's not a mum.
2 cartilages, you say?
Yeah, before
One
we
part
said
of the
No, in the Mishnah it could fit. It could fit with the Mishnah because the Sage says, Bisman Shi Etzem Echad, that's a mum. If there's one cartilage, then it's a mum. If it's Bisman Shein Bayetzem, if it doesn't have its own, if it doesn't have one etzem, that's how you have to read it, then it's not a mum. It fits with the Mishnah. If it's 2 separate ears, then it's not a mum.
So in the Mishnah it's 2 separate ears with 2 separate
And here it's
ears.
also 2 separate ears, and you could fit this with the Mishnah. Ram Gamliel Leimer Zanav Hagdish Udaimel Shel Chazir. It's really supposed to be Rabbi Chananya ben Gamliel. Rabbi Chananya ben Gamliel says that the tail of a goat that's similar to a pig, Amar of Papa Leitem de Katina, don't say that it's small or thin, Ela de Kricha. Rather, it means that it's round. Apparently, a lamb would be wider. Kricha means folded. Afagav dalima, even if it's fatter. Yeah, I'm not picturing it, so I don't know what this is. I think a pig has a very thin tail.
The curly tail.
It's curly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little
Very
cool.
full. That makes sense. Kricha.
Leitem de Katina. Don't say that it means it needs to be thin to be the mum. Ela de Kricha means that it's folded.
Yeah.
Afagav dalima, even if it's thick, it would still be a mum. Okay, good. Okay, we said that if the tail only has 3 vertebrae, so that's considered a mum. Amar Rav Huna b'gedi. Rav Huna says when it's talking about a goat, shtayim harei mum. 2 of them is already. If it's only 2, it's a mum. Shalish, but if there are 3, ain't a mum. B'tala, but if it's with a lamb, then shalish harei mum. If there's 3, it's a mum, and arba ain't a mum. And if there's 4, then it's not a mum. It's long enough. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question from our Mishnah. It says, Bigdi. No, this is not from our Mishnah. It says, Achas harei mum. If there's 1, then it's a mum. Shtayim ain't a mum. If there's 2, it's already not a mum. B'teleh, but by a lamb. Shtayim harei mum. Shalish ain't a mum. 2 is a mum, but 3 vertebrae is not a mum. The problem is that we've just contradicted Rav Huna. Rav Huna says that 3 on a goat is not a mum. We have a brisa that says that 2 is not a mum. So tifta de Rav Huna. It's a kasha on Rav Huna. The brisa contradicts him. Rav Huna masnise natise. Rav Huna, the reason why he said that was because he was tricked by the reading of the Mishnah. He thought that the Mishnah was talking about a goat, a kid, because the beginning of the Mishnah was talking about a kid. He thinks the end of the Mishnah is also Balahi, but that's not what the Mishnah was saying. Reisha Bigdi Sefer Bitla. The beginning of the Mishnah was a goat. The end of the Mishnah was with a lamb, and because it was a lamb, so by a lamb, 2 of them 3 of them is a mum, and 4 is not a mum. So he read the Mishnah thinking that it was talking about a goat.
Is he giving that answer himself or someone else?
No, it's the Gemara.
So he's
Rav Huna
not
must
saying
listen
that.
to Tisa, yeah.
We're just
You were explaining Rav Huna. Yeah.
At least we give him a nice kaf schus.
Right. Yeah, but while we're doing that, we're also saying that. Sorry, I would have worn my other kapata.
for a moment, just sit down.
I would have worn my other kapata.
No. Sit here, I'm going to sit down.
Just here for a moment.
While we're explaining Rav Huna, while we're doing that, we're also explaining the Mishnah. That the Mishnah left out the pronoun of who we're referring to. We thought we're talking about a Gedi. Okay. The next Mishnah, Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos. We had Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos before. We had just recently Rabbi Chanina ben Chananya ben Gamliel. We had Rabbi Eily. Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos Aimer Es sheyabeles be'einav. How do they translate yabeles? A wart. If there's a wart in the eye. V'shenifgam etzem yodei v'raglei. If there's a bruise on the hand or the leg. We're talking over here about a mum and a bachar. That when you're allowed to take it home, the kohen can take it home to shecht it. And what's considered a mum? V'shenifrak atzmai shel piv. This word shenifrak it's unclear. Nifrak would mean dislocated, but there's a version.
Split.
Yeah, because on the side it says shenifsak. What do you have in the Hebrew? Do you have shenifsak?
Shenifrak.
You have shenifrak.
It says dislocated.
There's two ways of reading it.
Oh, they put parentheses.
In the traditional Gemara, on the side it says shenifsak. Eine achas gedola v'achas ketana. One eye is large and one eye is small. It's this look. Oznaya echad achas gedola v'achas ketana. One ear is large, one ear is small. The mara of a loibamida. This is only if it's visually like that, not by measurement. If you have to go to the doctor to measure this, that's not considered a mum.
What about like cross-eyed? No idea.
Rabbi Yehuda says, Shtei beitzav, achas gedola kishtayim shebechaverta. If one of the testicles is double the size of the other one, that's considered a mum. But the sages didn't agree to that. So that's not yet a mum. Okay. The Gemara asks over here, one of the mummin that Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos said was the yabeles, the wart. L'meimer, the yabeles habimuma. You want to say that yabeles is a mum? Veraminu, there's a contradiction from a Bais. It says ve'elu. It's a Mishnah actually. Ve'elu she'ein sheichtem aleim loy b'mikdash v'loy b'medina. And the following are things that we don't shecht in the mikdash because it's a mum, and you can't shecht it at home either because it's not considered enough of a mum that you can shecht it in the house. In other words, it's possible for a karban, but it's not a mum yet. And what are those things? Bal garav or bal yabeles. Garav is another type of a wart, a boil, right? A boil, and a yabeles. So here we say that yabeles is a mum, and you could shecht it at home. Later on we say that yabeles is only possible for a karban, but it's not a mum. The Gemara says, V'tizbara, do you really think so? Haksiva yabeles b'iraisa. It says yabeles in the Torah. It has to be a mum. Amongst the mum, and it says yabeles. Elalei kasha. It's not a question because habagufay habeina. It depends where the yabeles is. In the Torah, where it's a daraisa that it's a mum, that's in the eye. But on the body, it's not considered a mum. So what is our Mishnah referring to? Yabeles beinai. Right, that's what we said. The Gemara says michdi cross stama. The pasuk doesn't specify that. Mali beguf and mali beina. What's the difference? Ella like kasher. It's not a question because had is beyetzem, had less beyetzem. Depends if there's a bone inside that wart, inside that growth. The krad is beyetzem. In the pasuk that says that it's a mum, that's when there's a bone there. And masnisim the less beyetzem. And the Mishnah is talking about where there's no bone, some sort of like an extra digit or something. So now the Gemara says, "Ve'enai," in the eye, havi muma. Then it's a mum. In begufai, loy havi muma. But in the body, when there's no bone, now we're dividing this up again. We have if there's a bone on the body, then it's a mum. That's from the Torah. If there's no bone on the body, it's not a mum. If there's no bone in the eye, then it is a mum. That's how we're gonna have to learn it. But gufa, but if it's on the body, lo yavi mumma. But less la etzem begufa pesula. If what you're saying here is that if there's no bone in this wart, it's just a growth. So then that's what the Mishnah on the next page is going to be talking about. Where over there we say you can't offer it as a sacrifice. You can't offer it as a sacrifice, but it's still possible to offer as a korban. That's just a little growth, a little thing hanging. That's not a mum. Ditnan, it's supposed to be the Tanya, was taught in a Braisa, Rabbi Lezer, Bali atil tulim pesulim, ba'adam uksherim bebehema. That in a human being, this would be possible to do the Avaida if he's a Kayan, because by the Kayan it says that Shava Bizarre, it has to be similar to Aaron. It has to look the same. But in an animal, that's not a problem. And there's the growths that grow, the little pieces of skin that grow, that's not a mum. We have to say that we're talking about in the eye. V'loi kasha. And there's the difference between our Mishnah and this following Mishnah is both in the eye. But habashachar habalavan. Depends if it's in the pupil of the eye or the white of the eye. The Gemara says, Vain movin balavan. You can't say that we said the white is just the fat, there's no mum there, there's no mum, that means there's also no psul. It doesn't mean that, but it sounds like there is. Ala'idividi balavan. Both is in the white. Taisus Gir says, idividi b'shachar. Both are in the black. Both are in the pupil, which is easier to learn, but that's not the girsa that Rashi has. V'amr ishlakish like kasha. Had this bisar, had less bisar. It depends if there's hair inside that wart that's growing. In the end, it's in the white, or you could say the opposite, or it's in the black. And if there's no hair, then it wouldn't be a mum.
So it says in the white there's no blemish, right?
Right. But here we're saying even if there is, but if there's hair, then it's going to be worse.
Right.
What happened? Got locked?
It got locked by mistake.
Oh. Rabbanan. I'm sorry, I skipped a piece. One eye is larger. But how large? The large one is the size of a calf, and the small one is the size of a duck, right? Avas is a duck or a goose? I don't know. A goose. Oznai.
Did you skip this whole piece with Rachel Lakish?
With the hair in the eye?
Yeah, Rachel Lakish said.
Yeah.
You said?
Maybe I skipped saying Rish Lakish. The answer was from Rish Lakish. Okay, if the ear is larger, then it says etc. And in that etc. we're talking about if the... You heard Grey Goose, I heard Duck Duck Goose. Different age. I'm dealing with the kids, you're dealing with the shul.
I heard Rubber Ducky.
So, here we said if one of the testicles is larger, double the size, Rabbanan ad kam, according to the rabbis, what's the size that it would be a mum? Even if the second one is only the size of a bean, that would still be kosher. But if it's smaller than a bean, then it would be pasul. So it needs to be less than that, not just double the size like Rabbi Yehuda says. That was a chumrah. Zanav ha'egel, new Mishnah, the tail of a calf, she'ina magas la'arkov, that doesn't reach the arkov. Arkov is the bone. The Gemara is going to explain in the middle of, in between the thigh. I don't know. How do they translate that? In between the sheik and the yerech.
It says the knee.
The knee. Okay, great.
Or the upper joint that connects the knee to the thigh.
Okay. What they're showing is the Gemara is going to explain what's visible in a camel is different than what's visible in a cow. So if the tail doesn't, are they showing you the tail there also? Yeah, I'll show you the tail. If the tail doesn't reach the arkav, then it's a problem. In Amar Chachamim, the sages said, Kol marbis agolim, all the growing of the calves, cane, this is how they grow. Kol zman shiyum agadlim, as long as they're growing, heinim tachas, it hangs down, or like pulls down, and it gets longer. Ezu arkav, what is considered the ark of the knee? Sha'amru Rabbi Chanina ben Sha'amru, that the sages said, Rabbi Chanina ben Nisaymer ba'arkav shebemtza yarach. It's the knee which is in between the thigh, I guess. Okay, the Gemara says Tana was taught kafatze elyain, v'lei kafatze tachten. When we're talking about the arkav, we're talking about kafatz is a word which Rashi translates to mean a knot, which means a joint. The upper joint, but not the lower joint. Corresponding to this, in a camel, it would be visible. Here's the picture. Let me hold this up. In the picture, you see this. In the camel, you see it, but it would be embedded in the flesh. You can't see it in the cow. See, this is. You see how it's more visible there. I'm sorry.
When you get up for the Gemara, it's good to close it for good memory.
I remember in camp, my learning counselor, I went to camp only 1 year, but my learning counselor said, if you don't close the sefer, you're going to forget what you learned. So I said, I don't think that's true. A lot of times I leave it open. He said, oh yeah, what did you learn? He said, that day when you learned. I said, how am I supposed to do it? I said, I don't know. He said, see? Okay. Al Eily mumin sheichten as a bechar. On the following mumin, you can shech or not the following. On these previous mumin that we mentioned, you can shech the bechar because it's considered mum. Psuli ha-makdashim niftan aleim. And sacrifices are redeemed because of these blemishes. The Gemara says, Hasulamali, why do you have to repeat this? Hatanale Reisha. That's how you began this conversation, by saying, Al Eily mumin sheichten as a bechar. You started off saying, on the following mumin, you shech the bechar. And then you conclude with saying on the previous mumen you can shech the bechar. Why do you have to say that again? You said that was the beginning of the conversation. Gemara says no. We added in a point here. It said seifet strichale. We need to add this in because we say now psuli hamikdash niftan aleim that you can redeem sacrifices with these mumen as well. We didn't mention that in the beginning. Gemara says hanami pshita. That's also obvious. Mishchet shachtina and mifrak mibai. If you can shech because of it, for sure you could redeem. The Gemara answers, because we said that there are three that Haisif, that Rabbi added, and the sages said to him, Leishamanu, we don't know what you're saying, we never heard of those. So, Es'elu, Leishamanu Es'elu, Ella Es'elu, we only know the ones that we've mentioned. Uktani va'asi diachidai, and then we go on and we say other mumen. In the name of Rabbi Chanina ben Antignes and Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, Rabbi Chanani ben Gamliel. But Kasasim Lubakulu, we don't say if they argue on them. So we answer, we conclude, Al Eily mumin sheichten as bechar psulim mikdash niftim aleim, that those that we said afterwards, the sages accept. It was only the three of Rabbi Eily that the sages didn't accept. Mishnah says, a new Mishnah. We're getting a lot of chances to start again. This Mishnah tells us that there are certain things that are not, make the animal puzzle to be slaughtered, but it's not enough of a mum that you can slaughter it at home. It's not brought as a sacrifice, but it's not considered a mum that you can shech the bechar. Chavar Last time we said this differently. We said
Sorry,
chorvar,
Rabbi, you said
chavarvar.
you can't do the mikdash, puzzle for the mikdash.
Yeah.
What about, and you can't take it to your house either?
You can't slaughter it at home yet with just the mum as is. It's not enough of a mum, right?
So either wait for it to heal or wait for it to get permanently.
Right. So here we mentioned chavarvar, which is a blotches in the eye, a pale spots in the eye. Bahamayim, or water in the eye, she'en kavuim, but it's not permanent. We didn't do those tests yet that we mentioned. Remember the wet and the dry fodder and all of that stuff. The inner teeth that are bruised, but they weren't removed. We mentioned that if the molars were removed, that's considered a mum. But here they're not removed, they're just blemished, they're bruised. Bal garava bal yabeles, that's what we were talking about before, we mentioned yabeles. If it has boils or warts, bal chazazis is another type of boil. Zakein, it's elderly. V'choylet sick mezuam, it has a bad smell. Shenevda ba'avera, if a sin was committed with it, a sexual sin, a male or female animal, shehemis adam al pi edechad al pi abailim, or it killed a man, but it was only with one witness, or the owners watched it, which that wouldn't be considered witnesses. Betumtum ba'androgynous, it's unclear if it's a male or female. Tumtum is that there's a growth that grows over the